Public service announcement. We are live. What's that? Okay. So, yeah, if you're watching this, I mean, this is just insight into a working environment. So if you hear words like shit, damn, or fuck, I can't help it. It's just the way things are. We don't have fragile ears around here. So this is BOOKFORGE Live. We try and do this every Wednesday. We've missed a couple here and there because of technical reasons. That's one of the reasons I have the Patreon page. We're trying to improve the quality of the equipment. So as I'm doing either live presentations or classes, workshops, demonstrations, TikToks, whatever needs video in that. I don't make a lot of money. I make enough to survive. So to do cool stuff like that, I need some equipment. And I'm currently still paying off the equipment that I'm currently using. I still need some more and maybe some better equipment in the future. Proceeds that we use for Patreon also go towards tools and buying supplies for my apprentices for them to learn and destroy. It all costs money. So that's my plug for the Patreon aspect of this. Today, I'm working on an heirloom family book. It has to do with their family name and the town that they came from. I'll also be working on the limited edition letterpress run of Animal Farm for Suntup and maybe a couple other various things. Neither one of my apprentices are here. The other bookbinder is not here. You may occasionally hear from my mother who popped in to help out. So I'm not going to guarantee a very exciting show. I'm going to try and narrate what I'm doing, so at least there's some sort of conversation or banter going on. The only thing I'd recommend is don't engage my mother in political, social, or religious conversation, and you'll be fine. All right, I'm gonna get to work. Thank you. How do you like pineapples? Huh? Yeah, just a little. So a lot of times we'll have music playing, YouTube, Facebook, and the other social media groups. This is not sugar, it's monk fruit. When I do videos, they tend to block out because, oh my God, I'm playing music and I'm violating some copyright as if I'm trying to repackage and sell it. You should probably be aware I have massive ADHD, inappropriately named. Not really a deficit, but we won't get into Dave right now. But so I walk around a lot. I stop what I'm doing. I'll do something else. I get distracted. That's just my normal operating procedure. Just for the record, that clock is wrong. So I'm not a huge fan of daylight savings. I think it's an abomination. It's a relic that needs to go away. So while I'm working on this family heirloom book, I have a board that I have trimmed the excess material off, but I'm going to have to put new cloth underneath this cloth. So I'm going to use my lifting knives, and there are many lifting knives, but these ones are mine. I have had in the past fiberglass lifting blades. I've used my paring knives to lift, even a razor. Just use a straight razor to go down there. So while I'm doing this, I've already stroked them, so they're ready and sharp. Because of the age of TikTok, I'm going to be making a TikTok of this while I'm doing it. So there's that. Trying to get this thing to stand up so I don't have. All right. So this particular thing, try and get started underneath here. The goal, of course, is to lift the cloth without causing any damage. This is one of those things that you go nice and slow, keep a steady hand, keep your blade sharp. So the reason I just jumped a little ahead because it started lifting more under the board than it was under the cloth itself. And while sometimes I do that deliberately, you want it to be consistent. So if you're just lifting the cloth, you want to continue with cloth. And if you're lifting the board, you want to continue with the same thickness of the board. Part of the reason I'm narrating this is because I know from the angle of the camera, you're really not seeing that. And I'm talking about the Patreon camera, not necessarily the one that's recording the TikTok. I'm going to switch to a bigger blade. There. And that will give me just enough so I've already lifted the inside here. Let me make a little quick cut. With a scalpel. There. That's all ready for the cloth to go underneath it now. So this particular
You have 30 seconds. Everything that comes into your head, you ready? Yeah.
So that was the back cover. Doing this on camera, I wanted to start with the back cover. So this is the front cover of the book. It's in Italian. I don't speak Italian. So I'm pretty much going to repeat the process, except what I'd already done to the other one was lift the turn-ins. So I'm going to go ahead and lift these turn-ins now. And I'm going a little bit deeper than the amount of cloth I plan on putting in. That way it doesn't bunch up. Plenty of room to work with. Okay. So here I go again. So with the front cover, my goal is to make my cut line even with either the existing tooling lines or with the line of the photograph. Since the tooling lines are actually quite close to the edge here, I'm going to opt for cutting up to the photograph line. And that'll help mask the new cloth underneath. No matter how careful I am, there's going to be a raised area of sorts. The goal is to minimize that as much as possible, but putting thin cloth thin cloth under another thin cloth with adhesive, so you're going to see it. Again, I'm going to go just a little bit past what I need. One of the things that I want to invest in is I have a very simple switch, and there's this huge delay whenever I'm recording. I want to get, I have this ATM switch from Blackmagic, but I need an adapter for the cameras that I have, so I can do an above desk. That way I can switch from talking head view to the aerial view, so you can actually see what's on my desktop. All right, Sharon confirmed that she is actually not going to be here today. So be it. So I do most of my work standing. So this is the book that those covers are for. So it has, we completely disband it. And if you check out the BOOKFORGE TikTok, it actually shows me doing the French link stitch from a couple different angles. And then tomorrow we'll actually have a third angle on that. And it shows what happens when a bookbinder runs out of thread and he needs to attach the new thread to the thread that he had been sewing with. And we use what's known as a weaver's knot. So tomorrow's TikTok will show me attaching the threads via a weaver's knot. And what's really cool is this book, so you have different thicknesses of thread, and it's kind of like wire gauge. The bigger the number, the thinner the thread, the smaller the number, the thicker the thread. So in books that are really, really thick, like a lot of Bibles, or books that you do not want a lot of swell, you want to use a either thicker signatures or you want thinner thread. And that helps you control the swell. This particular book had a standard 4-folio signature, but the pages are heavy, so it was equivalent of having a thicker signature. But it was also sewn with dual threads, and what's nice about that is you can use a thin thread, which obviously is going to be a little weaker than it's a thicker one. But if you double it up, instead of using a thicker thread, which would cause more swell, you double up your thread, your thin thread, and that enables the thread to lie next to each other. So instead of causing more bulk, it just lays next to each other, and it's the same thickness, which allows you to keep the swell down. So that's what I did with this. And the weaver's knot that I used is kind of fun because trying to tie a weaver's knot with 2 threads onto 2 threads proved to be a little tricky, especially when you have the camera in the way and you're trying to work around it. So it's yeah, good times. So the book that I'm working on had these beautiful full spread end papers. So I had to lift these end papers off the board. That's why they look like that. Now, normally on a lot of books, if I can get away with it, I would just cut the end papers and put new ones over them. But this one here being a family heirloom and having those beautiful photographic spreads for end papers required a little bit more attention. I'm trying to remember if I did a video of me lifting those. I don't think I did. All right. So the next thing I need to do is take these boards, put them on the book, and then get a measurement for the cloth that I need to cut.
Are you being a poopy?
I want to make sure I match the squares with what they originally were, best I can. We'll leave a nice groove on here. All right. I'll just use a piece of scrap from here, and I need a pencil. I'm just going to double check this real quick. Maybe it slipped. Okay, squares and boards look good. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take, let's do this. It's nice to have an extra pair of hands. All right, so I'm going to Basically, I'm going to do a physical markup. Where the edge of the board is, where the edge of the shoulder is, and the same on the other side. So that gives me the width of the spine plus the groove. Now I need to add the depth of the cloth. So for this to line up with the edge of the photograph, I'm looking at 11 millimeters. So I'm going to go 11 millimeters. So if you want to talk about that in old money, we are looking at just about 1, 2, 3, 8, no. 3/8, that would be 7/16 in old money. All right. So the back, I can do the same. I can come in 11 millimeters. But yeah, I guess we'll do the same. I usually like a little bit more material in there. So we've got, that's 53 millimeters. I'm going to round this up and cut it at 80 millimeters. Now this is a linen cloth that we dyed to a little bit lighter than the book cover. And then I backed it with a hanji paper to give it a little bit of rigidity. I guess I could have used the scalpel that I had out, but I'm going to square this off. So I'm going to trim one edge. I'm going to trim another edge. So that gives me a nice squared edge there. I'm going to flip this over so I can write on it and see. And we're going to go 80 millimeters thick. So you might ask yourself, being here in America, why I use the metric system. Most of the bookbinders that I have respect for, listen to, learn from, are based in Europe. And of course, they use metric over there. So I got very used to their information and content being delivered in the metric system. It also makes a lot more sense because it's base 10. I used to be an aircraft mechanic at the Boeing company and then an analyst for them. And my favorite ruler, or scale as we would call it, it has your standard, I think this one gets broke down to 64ths. But on the other side, it breaks the inch down to tenths, and I would always use that because I just love base 10. It made sense. All right, so looking at this, wondering if it's wide enough. And it is. Excellent. Really would have hated for it not to be. So got a little bit of extra material left over. Now I got to cut this to height. So 265. 265 millimeters. And then I want to turn over, see what their turnovers are. So I've got 14 millimeters on the backside, and the boards are 3 millimeters thick. So 14, 15, 16, 17. So I'm going to add 2 times 17 for the top and the bottom. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 9. All right, so that comes out to 299. I'm going to round it up to 300. So a lot of times I won't use a pencil to mark. If I want something to be really accurate, I just start the cut with a razor knife, and then I line it up to whatever line I need to, and I make my cut. And I did it this time, not because I necessarily needed to be super accurate on this, but the pencil that I'm using has a blunt tip, which gives me a really wide line and too much of a variation. So there's my scrap. And here's the piece of cloth that will go on the spine. I'm going to do a couple things to prep this. I'm going to trim the inner hinge. I used a jackknife cloth in here. Basically, it's a sized linen cloth that I'm using for the inner hinge. So get rid of this. little bit of an angle with these. Normally, I would have had to have lifted the end papers on the inside or put new end papers over it. But since the end papers were taken off completely, when I go to attach this, I'm going to attach this almost as if I had laced these boards on. Once again, I'm going to get my squares made up. So they look right. So I guess your question might be, what looks right for a square? And your question might be, what is a square? The squares are the bit of material of the boards or the cover that extend beyond the book block. So this area right here would be the squares. And generally your squares are the same depth as the thickness of the board. So this board is a 3mm board. So my square should be about 3mm. And so I'm just eyeballing, making sure everything looks even. I'm using the original line where the end papers were glued out to. All right, so now I have that. I'm going to mark my inner hinge. So I know where to glue out to. The other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure front, top. I'm going to make sure front, top, which I am. So I'm going to make a little note here, front, top. All right. Take a piece of acetate. I'm going to use that as a moisture barrier. I keep some really cheap copier paper laying around as waste paper. And I put another piece of waste under there. Set this aside. That way. I'm gonna lay this on here. And at this point, I'm using my fingers to determine if I have the squares laid on correctly. Very little time for slip. Okay, I'm going to repeat the process. On the other side, I need another piece of again, I'm going to slide this underneath there. Pop that out. All right. The ramie that I just put underneath there is to help protect it from sticking. It'll also absorb any excess moisture. And I do need another piece of acetate. And the acetate acts as a moisture barrier. So while the ramie absorbs, the acetate blocks. So I'm going to sit this on a couple boards. Make sure that this is in the right spot. So I'm going to nip it for a little bit. Your initial pressure is the most important pressure. It really helps the glue adhere. In this case, I'm using a PVA. All right, we're going to take a break for station identification. And I'll be right back. I need to take care of some business. So we're going over here.
I'm doing fine. I'm getting ready to sit down for a bit.
There you go.
We're gonna have to watch the on the second half.
All right, so I can do a little trick with my camera. Now it'll track me. Right? There we go. Good camera. I don't know if that's necessary. So at the Boeing company, we practiced a lean idea of clean as you go. So I try and keep my bench clear as I can. Sometimes it's not as easy as one would think. See that? That's my mom. All right, let's get rid of the blades. So I want that in a nipping press for a solid 20 minutes or so. I want those hinges to really tack down before I do anything else. Working memory. I'm never good at that game where you have the cards, you flip it over, and you have to remember where they are, and you double them up. Yay for ADHD. Woo-hoo. All right, so I'm going to be working on a video the next couple days, so I can release early next week, get it edited this weekend. And that video is going to talk about bone folders. So something to look forward to. I'm going to be trying to do a tool a week once I get started. The first tool, I figure, since every bookbinder has a bone folder, whether it's a natural bone folder or if it's a Teflon or plastic or whatever. Some people even have brass or aluminum bone folders. Every bookbinder has one, and I guarantee you they have a favorite. And we'll talk about mine. This is one of my favorites. I think my mother has my other favorite. So when I go to do the video, we'll talk a little bit about what bone folders were used for historically and what they're used for in the world of bookbinding. So a little something to look forward to. And if you notice, I have a couple. All right, I need to start something else while I'm waiting. So we just finished binding this Bible. They requested 10 ribbons, which is crazy, right? But hey, it's their Bible. They wanted 10 of them. So be it. What I need to do, I'm going to tuck some of these ribbons away so they don't get damaged. So while this Bible is mostly done, we had a small issue with, there's some bubbles on the end papers. So I want to go ahead and go in and take care of those. And not having these all flapping around will be helpful. All right, there we go. Yeah, I got them all tucked away. It's probably too much. Definitely too much. All right, so the issue that we have is the end papers were a vinyl, and my apprentice asked what we should use, and usually with end papers, I either use a 50-50 PVA and wheat paste, or I just use straight wheat paste. And but wheat paste isn't super great with vinyl. You need to really make sure you press it right. And so here I am with this cover, and I've got some bulges. Now the question is, where do I have? So for something like this, if you don't want to take the end paper completely off again, You can use a syringe and inject the glue into it. And that's what I'm going to do. So I've got some veterinary needles, and I don't know why they make those things so hard to open. So which one of these did I use? Can't tell. I bet you it was this one. Yep, it was this one. All right. So tools that you might not have thought a bookbinder would use, but yeah, these are single-use syringes. The needles are, like I said, they're 186 veterinary needles, and I basically just use these to inject glue where I need it. So I'm gonna put that right underneath there. If I can, yeah, see, I don't like that at all. Yeah. So now I've got I may just leave that because it's black vinyl, it just shows right up. See if I can lift it a little higher. Okay. This needle may be clogged. There we go. Okay. Some of that excess glue. Grab one of those bone folders I talked about. Okay, so I use that entire 1 millimeter syringe to fill this void, which is ridiculous. All right, so I think what I'm gonna do. So I'm going to put. This under some weight. And see how it comes out. So, get a small piece of that. Spine. And crush the spine. That's what fell for. What? One of those eagles.
Uh-oh. Seriously?
I heard it drop.
So you don't poke yourself.
Huh?
Make sure you don't poke yourself with it. Run into it.
Well, where'd the damn thing go? There it is. Whew. You're following me. It got better at following, Now I can actually turn my back to it. All right. Has it been about 20 minutes? Oh. These little guys. I wonder if there's any more. All right, bored out of your skulls yet? All right, let's get rid of these two. I know, I do a lot of walking, I'm sorry. Unnecessary movement. That's not thick enough. Thin board. Oh, that's beautiful. That'll take that right back. All right, so the book is coming together. So now what I need to do is I'm going to put the cloth on the spine. All right, so what I'm doing right now is test fitting the cloth. So I've got the cloth in, and it's up to the picture. The turn-in is about right, maybe a millimeter or so over, but that's okay. All right, so I'm thinking that I may have to trim this cloth or go deeper. A little bit of a bulge there. I don't want to go deeper. All right, so I'm going to take a couple millimeters off of this cloth. And I'll refit it. And if you remember, I did make it a little bit bigger, so I'd rather have it larger and need to cut it down than to have too little material. I just took off 3 millimeters or so. I'll refit the cloth. All right, that's what I'm talking about right there. That'll put the cloth on really nice and snug all the way around. All right, I want to make sure that the end cap is right because I'm going to pre-glue the end cap. All right, let's set this aside. So I would like to say that how I'm doing this book is not the only way. I could have completed the case off the book and then cased it in like a modern case binding, which probably is how it should have been done. I just happen to like this particular method. So because I fit it on the book, I kind of already have the spine molded into here. So what I've done is I've turned the turn-ins in, and I'm going to put a little bit of adhesive on here and glue the center down. But I'll leave the sides flexible so they can go over the boards. As if I had built the case and then put it on. So I'm just going to put adhesive in the center where the spine will be. Glue it on the fingers so I don't get it on the cloth itself. So that leaves your center glued down, and these little tabs can go over the boards. I'm just going to put this under weight for a few minutes, and then we can move forward. So when I have it on here, what I left unglued can go over the boards, and then the original cloth will go over that. I'm out of coffee. Bang, 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 bang.
You didn't even share that copy with me much.
It was sitting there. You could have walked over and got some.
You did a little. I had some of my thermal cup here.
You can make some more.
We're okay. I'm gonna take this container now that I used up the glue as possible, and I'm going to clean it out and use a fresh one.
Okay.
Because a couple of days and it's done.
Well, you haven't opened the air that long yet.
No, it's all over the place.
Yep.
And I don't know who did that. It wasn't me.
Well, I don't know about that.
Was you?
Yeah, just fill it up, let it soak. There's a fresh one. Matter of fact, I'll fill this up. Really? So we use several different types of adhesives here. This particular one is PVA. We use this mostly on new books. We also use a wheat paste. We use wheat starch. And the camera didn't track me, did it? It got stuck over here. I moved too fast. See if it'll pick me back up again. Oh, there it goes. We also use methyl cellulose. But for what she's doing, she's lining the spines of the Animal Farm text blocks. So for that, we're using a straight PVA.
Thank you.
Now, if you have any questions on what we're doing here, what type of nut I'm eating, anything along those lines, feel free to put it down in the comments. I'll answer things as quick as I can, as thoroughly as I can. I know, Dave, if you're watching this, I have not forgot your request. We're going to be doing a bit on book cloths and things that you can line book with. So look for that, hopefully before the end of next week, if not the beginning of the following week. I've got 2 videos that I've got editing. The actual editing's done. I just need to do the voiceover. So I can roll those out. And then I need to do the tool of the day, which will be the bone tool of the week, which will be the bone folder. So I can get that released by the end of the week, hopefully. And then we'll do the cloth. We'll do the cloth. All right, so the tricky part is going to be coming up here in a second. Time out about right. Shall I let this go a little longer? So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue out one side, the front, and then I'm going to put that in the press. And that's probably all the further we'll get with this book with you guys today. I'll finish it after the video. Or, I don't know, who knows, maybe I'll just let the video run a little bit long. It's supposed to be a 2-hour live session, but honestly, I mean, I've missed a few, so if I go 3 hours, is that a sin?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. So should we do this? All right. So I'm going to mix up a batch of 50-50. So the reason I think I want to use 50-50 on this, I want to give myself a little bit more slip time. And 50-50 will give me the quick tack of PVA and strength, flexibility, but the pace will give me a little bit of time to move things around. It also helps make it reversible. I don't think I want this one. I want the smaller one. I don't need a lot here. Okay, and you think it's odd that I smelled that paste when I picked it up? The paste is a couple days old. I think I made it on Monday. And paste has a limited shelf life. It can go off, as they call it. And depending on the paste going off itself isn't a bad thing. Paste will mold. So you get bacteria in there and it makes a mess. And that's when the paste is bad. There are some folks, trying to think of the guy's name, Peter, starts with a B, I think. Name's escaping me. He talks about if you have a wheat paste or wheat starch and it goes off, it's kind of like a sourdough bread mixture. You can keep it going off as long as you don't grow those mold cultures and you just add more to it, keep mixing it. But when paste does go off, has that sourdoughy smell, it loses a lot of that pull. So it'll dry and adhere, but it won't pull and curl either the paper or the board or whatever you are gluing up. And that's desirable when making certain things. Others, if the paste goes off, then it's dreadful, but it's okay. This batch smelled okay. I think this time tomorrow that paste will be bad, or it'll have gone off enough that it would be definitely noticeable. Right now it smells like lavender because we put lavender in our paste to deter bugs. But I don't need a lot for this particular session, so I'm just making up a few tablespoons. Mix it really good. Doesn't look like I'm going to have an issue with lumps or anything. PVA has a pretty long shelf life. Things you have to worry about with PVA would be it getting too cold or too hot. If it gets too cold, it loses its ability to adhere. If it gets too hot, it plasticizes. Future, I'm looking at my brush, it kind of reminded me of this. Future tool of the week, we're going to talk about brushes. And I bought a bunch of brushes early on. I've had these for years. But a lot of bookbinders and book restorers use brushes that, now I'm forgetting the name of what holds this together, the plastic. Mine are metal and they're steel and they're starting to rust down here at the bottom. So I'll eventually get rid of these and the new ones will be a plastic. All right, I don't want this brush anyway. I'm going to use the smallest round that I have. And the reason I want to do that is I don't want to get too much excess paste or glue in there. Time for the extra hand again.
Listen. Okay. I forgot to put water in.
So as I'm gluing this out, the one thing I want to make sure is that I get really good adhesion on both the board and the cloth. So I'm going to make sure both are coated. And I think what I may do with this is I'm going to put a layer in here. And then I'm going to give it a moment to tack up. And I think it'll absorb some.
You weren't going to have to stay there, you know that. You see my face. You my way.
I folded this, I may have missed a little. Okay. All right. Well, there's that. So typically, if you're going to dye out leather or cloth or whatever to blend into the existing cloth or leather, you will go a little bit lighter than the existing. And then when you get everything together, because only a little bit is going to be showing, you can go ahead and blend it darker until you get everything matching. But you typically want to do that once the book is together. It's easier to blend and match. So I want to get this side done quickly so I can get the book into the press, because I don't want to line the form on the front.
See that flavoring.
So here we are. We talked about the initial pressure being really important. The squares still look good. All right, well, there's that for now. Again, I put that in there for a good solid 20 minutes or more. I don't know that we're really going to finish this one on camera today. I think we will cut off at 2. Oh, wait, no, 1, 3. We're on till 3. I'm sorry. No, that clock's wrong. We talked about it earlier. Right. I have a feeling I made a mistake. It's not good. So what I didn't do, it's too late now. I've got this pretty well glued together. I did not put adhesive in the groove. So I'm going to have to add some and get the groove set. I'll do that in a bit. I'll use a similar process with the syringe. I'll just put glue down the fuller and move it around. Not ideal. That was clearly a mistake. I was so busy thinking about talking to you guys. So I generally, I would prefer if this was just like a candid session where, you know, the bookbinders are talking, but there's no one else here. So I needed to talk to you. Not making excuses, my mistake. It's okay, it's fixable. Just about everything that you can do here is fixable one way or the other. That's kind of the whole purpose of what I do is fix. So if I do make a mistake, we'll work it out. Yeah, clean some of this up. All right. Did not get to any of the animal farm production for you guys today, but we'll see. I've obviously got a stack of stuff in front of me to work. Yep. Really helps me if I reset, especially when I get frustrated because I made a mistake. And mistakes do happen, even to seasoned professionals. It's just how you deal with it, and we will take care of it. Should we take a look and see how the Blue Bible fared? This, by the way, is referred to as a standing press. That particular one is a Dryad Lexeter. Dryad. They were really popular 20s, 30s, 40s, into the 50s. And they made a whole bunch of craft materials, but they made a lot of really good bookbinding tools. That Dryad, that standing press, is one of them. And then the press that I just put away, it's called a finishing press. Flip it over, it also has a lying press with a plow trough or groove for it. Those are the two pieces I have. I have the I have the plow for the finishing press. It just needs a new blade, so I got to work on getting that manufactured or find someone who has one. All right. Oh yeah, that's a lot better. I have to clean it up. It's like there's some bubble up here that I need to take care of. I'm not gonna worry about it. There's a couple little ones in the spine. This side came out really good. So yeah, just up here, I'm gonna have to do an injection right there. Flatten that out. All right, that's something I've got. Planned and ready. All right, folks, it's damn near 3 o'clock. I think I'm going to take a break and go eat something, and so we'll see you. I was thinking maybe going live on Friday. We missed a couple weeks, so I feel like I owe you guys something, and yeah. So just between me, you, and the fence post, we're going to go live on Friday, same time, 1 to 3. We'll give you something a little extra. Maybe someone else will be here besides me. Well, I'm Never Crayons, the Honey Badger Binder of BookForge. Thank you for joining us. I hope I made it not entertaining, at least worth your while. Again, we're going to work on getting some different camera angles, because I know you really can't see a lot of what I'm doing. If you're a patron and you're watching this, thank you. If you're a guest and you're on the fence about becoming a patron for BookForge, please do. You know, the book bindery brings in enough money to pay for itself, but for equipment, for doing these videos and a bunch of the other stuff that we have planned, and I have a couple of apprentices that while they're learning, they destroy material. So the contributions to our Patreon page really help me out with those kind of things. So please, there's also a book that we're trying to buy, and I'm going to post that today. If someone wanted to be an angel patron and go to this, this book is on conservation, and it's written from several points of views of major conservators, book conservators around the world. I would love to have that in our library. One, for myself, because I believe in continuous learning, but two, for the apprentices, two apprentices. Having something like that in the library to draw from would be priceless. The book, the hardcover, is $240. I will eventually buy it, but it'll probably be 6-8 months before I can scrape together that much disposable income for that book. So if you wanted to buy it, send it to us. We will thank you publicly. We will draw from that book and create videos here on Patreon with that information added to our own. Yeah, we'll just be eternally grateful. So I hope you enjoyed today's session. Take it easy, and we'll see you on Friday. And then if not, definitely next Wednesday. But yeah, we'll see you Friday. Thank you.